Yo, what is up, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Before we get started, make sure you mash that like button, comment anything you want below, and make sure you subscribe to the channel because you know I am dropping bangers left and right. So today we got the new kid on the block, man. I am pretty excited to get into this. Now, of course, you know me, I'm gonna get this in a real world photo shoot. But today we're gonna talk about this brand new trigger from Flashpoint, man, how it compares, who it's for, what this thing can do, and why would you even want to get it? Let's get into it. And we back. What's up, everybody? It is your boy Brent, aka the Kevin Hart of photography. And guess what, man? We have the brand new Flashpoint R2 Nano trigger, man. That's right. This thing it's small, all right? And to compare the triggers, I also have the R2 Pro and the other R2. We're gonna get into all of this, all right? And we're gonna compare sizes and everything. So I'm gonna run this down, and as you can see, my other camera's already in frame. I already got it set up to basically give you guys a closer look at the R2 Nano when we put it on and we go to the menu. So I already got it set up. Let's go ahead and do a quick unboxing of the new R2 Nano. All right, so quick unboxing of the R2 Nano. So when you open up your box, you get this little Q code to basically download the manual for the R2 Nano. So this is really good. You want to keep this handy. And then you have this nice little pouch. Ew. All right, so we got a nice little pouch here, and then inside we just got our R2 Nano. Oh my God, look how small this thing is. This is crazy. And then down here you just got some salt and some other stuff. So whatever. Anyway, with that, that's the fastest unboxing I ever did. All right, so basically let's first look at the sizes of these triggers. Look at the sizes of these. This is how these compare. So you got the X Pro, the R2 Pro, and then you have the R2 Nano. Like, look at the size of them. This is crazy. It's insane. All right, so a quick look around the R2 Nano. You have your select dial, and you also can press it in to enter or select whatever you are highlighting. You have your menu / power button in right here in the middle. And then you also have your test button. If you need to test your flash, you also have your test button right here also. And then you also have a port for USB-C charging. All right, this is also how you update your firmware. And you also have your installing or detaching button right here. All right, now as you can see on this trigger, unlike the other triggers that have a way to lock the mechanism in place onto your hot shoe when you put it on there, I put this on here, I can lock it. If I use the other trigger, I can turn it until it clicks on, not necessarily clicks, but until it tightens down onto the hot shoe. With the R2 Nano, you don't have a way to tighten it. However, you have this, like, it's almost like a quick release button. But once you slide it onto your hot shoe mount, these prongs basically attach it in place so it doesn't move. In order to remove it, you have to press this detaching button and then slide it off. So just be careful and cognizant is when you put this on, you just can't slide it off and just take it off really hard, all right? You have to press the unlock or detaching button when you do so, all right? There's not really a lot to this Nano. Everything is pretty much touchscreen or using a button. So let's go ahead and get into this and see how this thing looks. So in order to help us out with this, I also have my Explorer 400 Pro. I'm just gonna turn it on, and I'm gonna leave it right over here to the side. So we're gonna go ahead and attach our R2 Nano. All right, cool. Now you don't hear like a clicking or anything to let you know this is in place. You really just slide it in, and I mean that's pretty much it. I mean, and you can also, you know, hit your flash button to make sure that, now that doesn't mean that it's attached, all right? I can take this off and hit my flash button as long as they're on the same channel and everything, and they're gonna still flash. So in order to make sure, you wanna press it and make sure you're okay. Don't put a lot of pressure on it, but turn your camera on and then, you know, hit the trigger button or hit your shutter button to make sure that it's still connecting with each other. So that lets me know that my stuff is on here. All right, so first thing, let me tell you, when you first get your R2 Nano, it's gonna be in like the Japanese, Chinese language, whatever it is. It's going to be really hard to kind of see things and understand where everything is. So it's also going to be on another channel. When mine came, it was on channel 21 and it was in a different language. So I'm going to quickly show you how to get to your menu system in order to do that. And we're going to go through some things. So when you first get it and you want to test it to your flashes, you can either keep it on that same channel or you can put it back on the channel. I wanted to put it on the channel just to make sure I knew where the channel was. So I'm gonna show you how to do that. So the first thing you're gonna do is hit the middle button, which is your menu button. You're gonna go to your settings. Settings, you can see, is right over here on the right hand side. This thing is really fluid. It's really picking up the touchscreen. It's very easy to the touch, so that's a good thing. So when you come in this menu system, the first thing we're going to do is change the channel. We're going to go through this menu system, but I want to get you started, all right? So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to go to wireless, which is your top button, your top in your menu button, and then you're going to go to your channel. You can see channel right here on the left hand side. So you can scroll through your channels until you get to the channel that you desire. You can also scan for the best channel, and you have your wireless sync on this also. So once you do that, you don't have to press an enter button or anything. You just slide it back over and then you'll be in that channel. Next, I'm going to show you how to fix your language. All right, you want to go back to your menu button again, and then you want to scroll down until you see like a globe. Okay, that is going to be that's your language button, just in case you don't have it and you don't recognize it. If it comes in a different language, hit that menu button, scroll to your globe. That's your language. Click on your language and then you can select English. You can see it right there. Okay, so let's talk about a few things that I use when I'm on location and I'm shooting. All right, so let's talk about the groups. Now normally we're going to talk about just a one light setup. All right, let's just talk about some things up here. So the first, at the top, on the top of the screen, you got your channel. All right, you have whether you're in high speed sync or front curtain sync. You also have like your beeps on there, and you have your battery life. That's what I'm showing on mine right now. All right, so the first thing is I'm in channel A 1256 power. That's what I'm on right now. If you look under that, this button right here, the one right under it, that's how you activate your other channels. So if you have other flashes, A, B, C, and you put those on different channels, this is where that you add those channels to activate those flashes. All right, the first thing you need to do is activate these channels. So let's just say we have two more lights. So we're going to activate B and C. All right, there is no enter button. You just slide it back over to get out of that menu. Now you can see A, B, and C on your menu system right there. All right, so in order to change each one, you can change them individually. Let's start with channel A. I would just basically click on it and you can slide to increase or decrease the power right there, or you can use your dial. All right, you can press it in to select it and then change it with the select dial. All right, just like so. Now, also, when you're in a specific flash, you can also change it from manual also to TTL. This is where you would change that at inside that specific channel. All right. Now, I'm going to go ahead and when you're done, I'm going to go ahead and put it back in manual. When you're done, you just want to slide out and you want to go back to the menu system. Now, say for instance, you wanted to turn on the modeling lamp on that specific channel. You can go back into that channel and then you will scroll down until you see that little light is kind of grayed out a little bit. That's your modeling lamp. You can use your select dial or you can use your touch. You're going to select it and it's going to say turn on the modeling lamp main switch. You're going to select yes, and then as you can see my light over here, my modeling lamp is on now, and then I can press it and it'll turn it off. You can go out of that. We're going to go back out of that. And then here's another thing. When you're in a specific light and you have more lights, you can also just slide it to go to the next light, as you can see right there. And you can tell which light you're in because it has the letters to the left-hand side. So as you can see right now, I'm in C. Now I'm in B. There you go. And now I'm in A. All right. And there it is. So I'm going to turn these back off. Now I'm going to go back out. Now, if you want to control like the modeling length for all of these, you do have a drop down menu. So if I drop this down, it will allow me to turn on the beeps so I can hear the beeps on here. You also have this button right here that has your modeling length to turn on the modeling length for all your lights at one time. You also have your lock button, and this is where you can also go into multi or your settings, all right, just by swiping down from the top of your menu. If you don't want to, you just swipe back up. If you're not using multi, you can just swipe down and go into your settings and swipe up. It's just that easy. Don't get confused, because when I started using this, I would hit my menu button and then I would hit multi, and then it would take me to the multi thing. I would have to get back out. I don't use multi a lot at all when I'm shooting, all right? So I'm only concerned about my main menu and my settings tab, okay? So again, this is what it looks like. Now, say for instance, you wanted to turn off a specific channel, all right? So what you would do to turn off that specific channel, let's just say we wanted to turn off you know how you turn off your flashes and you want to test your rim light, your side light, your hair lights without all the other lights, you know, flashing at the same time? You can do that also. So what you need to do is you need to click on that specific channel, and you see that little pause button over there? That's how you turn off that channel specifically. So I would just hit that pause button, and you will see it come up really big on the screen. It's just going to say pause. If I slide back out to the main menu, now you're going to see it say off. That channel is now off. All right. So now I can test my other flashes with that channel being off. To turn that channel back on, you would just go back into it and turn it back on. Slide out, and now you're back on. All right. So that's how you do that. Now, let's say, for instance, again, if you don't want the rest of these channels and you need to get rid of these channels, you need to go back down to that part that we had in the beginning, and you have to actually turn those channels back off. So what I would do is I would slide up to get to the bottom of the lights, hit that button, and now you can now turn off each of those channels. So we're just going to turn off B and C, and we're going to go back to A. That is basically the Nano. It is very intuitive once you actually get with it. One of the things that I think I might have just a little bit of problem with is actually getting to the power that I want, because what happens is when I say, for instance, I'm in this first channel and I want to get to the power, I think I'm mostly going to use the crown to tap in and turn the power to where I want to, versus sliding it with my hand. Because if you use your finger, I notice a lot of times if I use my finger to slide this, I'm covering up the actual power. So I don't know what power I'm on, because my finger is mainly covering up the power setting or whatever I'm trying to look for. And it's moving kind of fast. So I would say if you're looking to do this, unless you are changing power, you can use the touch for everything else. But when you're actually trying to adjust your power setting, I would not recommend you use your finger, because you're covering up the power. I recommend you hit your crown and then select it that way, so your hand can be out of the way, and then select and press it back in again to get to the power setting that you want. All right. I would not recommend you use your finger to do that. I have mine set to 0.1 instead of every third stop. I like the really, really small increments. If you want to change those really, really small increments, also, what you can do is right here at the bottom of this, you have a plus and minus. This is how you would increase that and decrease that. So now, if you just hold one of these things down, it's not going to just take it really, really fast, all right? You have to press it like that. So I like that if I'm just trying to get to like 1, 2, or 3 instead of like every third. I love dealing with the smaller increments, and I like that plus and minus is down there, so I can just hit that a little bit instead of going through a bunch of different things to adjust it. So I really, really like that about my power settings. Let's go. So that is pretty much the touchscreen right there, man. It's very nice, very intuitive. I really, really like it. So you're trying to go into your settings. Again, you can go into your settings two ways. You can hit your button on the side and hit setting, or you can hit your drop down and go to setting. All right. So let's go over some of the things in the menus. Not too different from your other ones, but I will tell you, you know, coming from using triggers like this with the blue screen on it, okay, to something like this, you can see this so much clearer. It looks better. I mean, it's a world of a difference when you're using this. That's one of the biggest upgrades between this little one and these other ones. I would have liked this screen to be almost the size of this screen. It would have been amazing for you to have the Nano this size. I mean, it wouldn't be a Nano, but I would have gave it just a little bit bigger screen. That would have been absolutely incredible. Maybe in the future they might come out with something with a larger touchscreen. I would definitely like to see that. All right, I don't mind the smaller screen and the smaller form factor, but man, having this in this size would be epic. All right, and I hope they come out with one this size too, because I only use this one in the studio. All right, this doesn't go on location with me. This stays in the studio because I can see A, B, C, D, and E at the same time. This is a 5-light setup and I don't have to change or move anything. My other one that I use, this one mainly goes on location with me because I can see it, but also it has a hot shoe mount on it. So if I want to mount a GoPro or do other things with this, I've always liked the triggers that have a cold shoe mount on it. That I can use for different things to give you guys a different perspective. So yeah, it's always going to stay in my bag and get back to focus. So again, with the Nano, I like it. I just think it should have a bigger screen, man. I think that would have been dope. Hopefully they will come out one with this size. All right. So let's get into the menu system. All right. So again, swipe down. We're gonna go to our menu system over here. Quick run through the menu setting, all right, on the wireless R2 Nano. All right, so top left-hand corner, we have wireless. We went through this early before. You can scan for your IDs. Make sure your trigger is on a different channel from everybody else. This is where you would do that also. Put them on different channels. You can also put it on a different ID. That way you make sure your stuff does not interfere with everybody else's trigger, all right? Next. To put this thing into high-speed sync, unlike the other ones where you can just press a button, you got to go into the menu system here. You have your front curtain sync and your high-speed sync. So I'll put mine in high-speed sync just to make sure I have it there. That way I don't have to touch it and put it on there. If you're trying to do rear curtain sync, again, of course, you know rear curtain sync has to be set up on your camera, not on the trigger. All right, front curtain sync and high-speed sync is where you would set that up at. Next, we have shoot right here. Shoot, you have one shot, and then you have all shoot. All right, so we know about one shoot and all shoot. One shoot is basically just for that one person photography shooting. The all shoot is basically when you have multiple people using a certain flash. You will be able to trigger this flash even when you have multiple people shooting, but you need to make sure that that is on all shoot if you're shooting in a group. All right, for right now we're going to leave it on one shot, one shoot. Also, make sure you understand when you put this in all shoot, it will drain your battery faster than putting it in one shoot. All right, something to know. So next we have auto off. This is basically if you forget to turn it off or anything like that after a shoot, it will turn off automatically for you. So I normally leave this on 30 minutes. I really don't care. Normally if I'm on a shoot, I'm shooting. I'm not using my flash trigger for more than 30 minutes. So when I go, you know, a lot of times we get to packing up stuff and we forget our triggers and turn them off. This will automatically turn your trigger off in the time frame desired. 30 minutes, 60 minutes, and 90 minutes. All right, I normally leave mine to 30 minutes. And there we go. Next, we have trigger distance. These are your meters. So you have 0 to 30 meters, and then you have 1 to 100. I always put all my triggers on 1 to 100, even though I'm not going to be 100 meters away from my trigger. I just want to make sure that if I am at a distance or something that I'm doing, there might be a time in my photo shoot where I walk in like a little crevice or right behind something and shoot. I just want to make sure that I get the shot. So this is always set to 1 to 100. All right, let's see, here's next. Step. Step is great. So step will give you the minimum power and the step to adjust for your settings. Now this Nano goes down to 512, 1/512 power. I don't have a flash that goes down to 1/512 power. I know this one goes to 1/256 power. There might be some flashes that go as light as 1/512. That's pretty dope. And then you can adjust your step in 0.1 or 0.3. I put mine at 0.1 because I love small increments. And I set mine to 256 because all of my flashes are set to 256. And you can also set this for like a Westcott or something like that also, where you can start at 3.0 power, 2.0 power, or 1.0 power if you have that type of flash. So mine, I'm setting mine to 1/256 power, all right? That's where you would set that at. Slide it on back over there. Over here you have TCM. This is mainly for on-camera flash, like your external flash or something like that you're putting on that. We're not going to go into that, but if you needed to, 100J, 200J, that's where you would adjust that if you use on-camera flash. Also with the zoom, if you need to zoom in those millimeters that you get from like a zoom flash or something like that, a on-camera flash, that's where you would adjust that also. If you want that flash to come more forward or back, that's where you would adjust that zoom preference at also. You have your screen in here. This is where you can brighten your screen, dim your screen. It also has a standby time, so if you're not using your screen after a certain amount of time, it will dim. Won't turn off. It will go into standby mode, all right? Language, we went over that. This is where you would reset this if you need to reset this back to factory settings. And then your device info that tells you the model and what your firmware is. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the R2 Nano. So, what are my thoughts about the new R2 Nano? I really like it. It is very intuitive. I think they did an amazing job. I like the small form factor. Again, I gotta take it out into the real world, do a real photo shoot with it, see how it looks under the sun. See how, you know, as I'm moving, if I'm getting wet, if I'm sweating, I'm going to give you a feedback on all of that stuff, because who better to give you feedback on an R2 trigger instead the person that is outside doing it all the time. So I'm going to give you my honest to God feedback on it when I actually do a photo shoot with it. Right now, what I see is really good. I really like it, man. It's pretty easy to set up the channels. It's pretty easy to adjust. Like I said, I won't be using the touch if I'm adjusting the power. I will just use the crown to do that. Going into TTL mode, turning the cameras off, turning the flashes off. Everything, just the sliding up and down and stuff is pretty cool. And then going into your settings, it's a flash trigger. So, it does what it does. But again, I love the small form factor. Again, I hope Godox or Flashpoint comes out with something like a bigger screen like this one. Like to have something like this with this size in like the studio with this pretty much look the same exact way. You just have a bigger screen and you can get rid of all the buttons because it's touchscreen. But other than that, man, I'm ready to go put this thing in a photo shoot, man, and really see what it does on location. All right. But from everything that I'm using right now, whoo, it's amazing, man. I really like how it looks. I can see it clearer. I love it. It's not this ugly blue screen, so I love that. I love seeing the channels and stuff that I'm on. I like seeing, I can see that I'm in high speed sync. I can see my battery life. Everything is a little bit smaller, so it is what it is. But other than that, man, it's a flash trigger. So I like it, and we're gonna see what this thing can do actually in a real world photo shoot. All right. If this review helped you out, remember to drop a like on the video. Make sure you comment and make sure you subscribe to the channel. You should subscribe and make sure you turn on those bell notifications to let you know when I'm actually going to use this Nano in the first real world photo shoot, a real photo shoot. All right, I'm really ready to try that out and see how that works. All right, so until next time, man, make sure you guys subscribe. It is your boy Brandon, the AKA the Kevin Hart of photography, and I will see you in the next video. We out of here taking my Nano and I'm going home with my baby. I'm going home with my baby. My Nano. See ya.